Let me take you back to the day it all started, when I thought getting into real estate in Florida meant easy rental checks and sipping cold beer by the pool. Instead, I got a front row seat to the most deranged, drawn-out, legal roller coaster this side of the Everglades, starring yours truly, my bank account, and a parade of shady characters with more attitude than alligators in mating season. So there I was, mortgage approval in hand, feeling like hot stuff because my DSCR lender, some suit up north who spelled his own name wrong in email, said I was approved, but only if I vested the whole deal into an LLC. Don't ask why, I still don't know. I asked him like 5 times. He'd just get cagey and say things like, "That's just how we do it." Whatever. I figured it was just some CYA corporate nonsense. But now came the catch. Apparently, to keep my precious liability shield, I couldn't commingle funds or use my regular checking account for anything related to the property. That meant setting up a brand new business bank account exclusively for this one investment property, the house on Flamingo Lane. I'd never done this before. My only experience with LLCs was that episode of Shark Tank where Mark Cuban roasted some poor guy for not having his paperwork in order. So I did what any self-respecting millennial would. I Googled the hell out of it and then posted a frantic plea on Reddit while eating leftover Publix subs at midnight. And that's when things started getting weird. First off, opening a business bank account is nothing like opening a normal one. The first branch I walked into looked me up and down like I was about to rob the place, probably because my flip-flops squeaked and my shirt said Legalize Ranch. The teller asked if my LLC was a shell company for international investors. What? Then she wanted every document under the sun: EIN letter, operating agreement, articles of organization, 2 forms of ID that weren't expired, good luck with that in Florida, and proof of address. I brought what I had: a crumpled EIN printout from the IRS website and a lease agreement with a coffee stain shaped like the state of Texas. She told me nicely, but with that special Florida passive-aggressive smile, that maybe I'd have better luck with online banking or a credit union. You ever try to pick between 10 banks when you can barely remember your own PIN number? It's like playing Russian roulette, but everyone's got water guns filled with swamp water. Some places wanted $1,000 minimum deposit, others required business references. Like, who did they think I was, Tony Soprano? I ended up signing up for this virtual bank based out of Miami because their website had palm trees and promised no hidden fees. Jokes on me, turns out hidden fees are their specialty. The first month alone, they charged me for monthly maintenance, paperless statements, and something called an out-of-network transfer after Zelle glitched and sent my money to some guy named Paco in Hialeah. Meanwhile, my DSCR lender kept emailing every other day asking if the funds were properly segregated yet. Bro, chill. If you want segregation, come look at my accounts. There's nothing but tumbleweeds and overdraft notices. Then came tax time. Oh boy, here's where everything hit peak Florida crazy. See, my cousin Joey works part-time as a tax preparer out of his garage in Port St. Lucie, between gigs as a mobile car detailer and amateur snake wrangler. Swore he knew all about LLCs because he watched 3 YouTube videos on Escort last year. He took one look at my QuickBooks account, which was basically just screenshots of Venmo payments, and told me I was playing with fire. Apparently, and nobody mentioned this before, if you mix so much as one personal expense into your LLC account for convenience, said past me, you could lose your liability protection faster than you can say stand your ground. Cue panic attack number. So now, on top of being terrified of getting sued by some slip-and-fall artist, I'm haunted by visions of the IRS storming my house because Joey wrote off my Uber Eats orders as business lunches. But that's not even the best part. Turns out one of my neighbors, a woman named Linda who runs the HOA Facebook group with an iron fist, is also on the board at our local credit union. She heard through her grapevine, her daughter's boyfriend's cousin's dog walker, that someone new opened an LLC for property on Flamingo Lane, but didn't go through her people at Sunbreeze Federal. Next thing you know, I'm not kidding here, I find an anonymous flyer taped to my mailbox saying support local banks or get out, like it's 1955 or something. A couple days later, Linda corners me during our monthly HOA meeting, which is really just wine night with extra drama, and asks why all these suspicious wire transfers are showing up in neighborhood public records. Who knew she had time to check that between posting angry memes about lawn flamingos? I tell her it's just rent payments from tenants up north. The property is technically in New York State, but managed from Florida because, well, have you seen NY property taxes? Linda narrows her eyes and whispers that outsiders who don't support community banks sometimes find things harder than they expect around here. Overnight, someone eggs my mailbox. Now I'm paranoid, not just about bookkeeping, but about whether Linda's plotting some kind of anti-LLC coup behind closed doors. My phone blows up every morning with texts from unlisted numbers asking if I'm interested in refinancing at local rates. One guy leaves voicemails at 2 a.m. pretending to be from Bank of America, but his accent sounds suspiciously like Linda's nephew Brian after 3-4 Locos. Meanwhile, my tenants in New York start calling about a leaky pipe, which they claim has been dripping since Christmas, but now suddenly it's urgent because they saw something about LLC foreclosures online. How did they even get wind of that? Oh yeah, Linda posted a screenshot from some clickbait article onto our HOA page with the caption, "Is your landlord next?" I try to call Joey for advice, but he's busy fumigating iguanas from his neighbor's boat shed, so he tells me to just Google it again. Thanks bro, super helpful as always. Around this time, my virtual bank freezes my account due to potential fraudulent activity. All because a $20 rent payment bounced back from one tenant who tried to pay via Venmo instead of Zelle because, get this, her dog ate her debit card. Now I'm locked out of my own LLC money while bills pile up. Insurance premiums, which doubled after Ian, HOA fees, which triple if Linda smells blood, emergency plumber calls from New York, $500 an hour. Plus whatever new charges show up from Sunbreeze Federal, since apparently Linda has connections everywhere except maybe federal prison. I call the virtual bank's customer service line, which is run entirely by AI bots trained on TikTok scripts. After 20 minutes yelling, "Human, human," into my phone like Gordon Ramsay berating a toaster oven, I finally get transferred to someone named Marisol who says they can unfreeze the account if I fax them notarized copies of every transaction over $10 for the last 3 months. I don't even own a fax machine. Desperate times call for desperate measures. So I swallow my pride and bring donuts to Linda's office at Sunbreeze Federal, hoping she'll cut me some slack or at least stop egging my mailbox. She takes one look at me and says sweetly, "We love supporting local businesses as long as they play by our rules." Cue ominous thunderclap, or maybe it was just someone's F-150 backfiring outside. She offers me an account with zero monthly fees but demands full access to every transaction for compliance. When I hesitate, she leans forward and whispers, "You don't want any accounting errors in this neighborhood, trust me." So now I'm stuck between shady online banks who lock me out over dog-chewed debit cards and Linda's mafia-style credit union demanding full transparency like they're auditioning for Narcos, Boca Raton edition. At this point, sleep is a distant memory. Every night I dream about QuickBooks crashing while Linda ransacks my trash cans looking for tax evasion evidence. But wait, it gets juicier. One afternoon, Joey shows up unannounced holding a greasy folder labeled LLC Tax SCCRTS. He bought off Facebook Marketplace for $20 and half a bottle of Fireball. Inside are handwritten notes promising bulletproof asset protection, written entirely in Spanish slang neither of us understands. Desperate to avoid getting sued or audited or worse, shunned by HOA wine night, I agree to let Joey handle all bookkeeping as long as he promises not to write off his Monster Energy drinks as business expenses again. Long story. 3 weeks later, IRS sends me a letter flagged urgent, inconsistent account activity, audit pending. My heart drops into my flip-flops. I call Joey, who assures me it's probably just an automated notice, but then he admits he may have accidentally e-filed everything under his own LLC instead of mine because autofill is confusing. Meanwhile, Linda posts another cryptic warning on Facebook. If you're hiding assets behind shell companies, the truth will come out. Anxiety reaches DEFCON 1 levels when local news runs an exposé about small-time landlords using LLCs to dodge taxes, featuring dramatic B-roll footage of houses that look eerily similar to mine followed by interviews with irate tenants, including mine. My phone explodes with texts. From mom, "Are you going to jail?" From ex-girlfriend, "Guess karma finally caught up, lol." From plumber, "Invoice past due plus $200 late fee." From neighbor Karen, "Linda says you're laundering money, lol. From DSCR lender, "Please confirm compliance or we will accelerate foreclosure proceedings." From Joey, "Bro F asterisk ed." From Linda, "Just an egg emoji. I try calling everyone back but nobody answers except Karen, who wants gossip for her next book club meeting. She promises not to tell anyone else if I spill all the details, which obviously means half the block knows before sunset. Word spreads faster than mold after hurricane season. Now random kids on bikes ride past chanting "money launderer," while old man Ed next door starts peering through binoculars whenever Amazon drops off packages larger than a shoebox. The plumber threatens small claims court, while DSCR lender sends final demand letters threatening foreclosure unless I prove all funds are clean within 72 hours. Meanwhile, virtual bank closes my account entirely citing reputational risk and refuses to release $1,300 still inside until further notice, which might be never, judging by their customer service reviews. Worst bank ever, would rather stuff cash in MY Gator boots. Linda announces emergency HOA meeting titled Financial Irregularities and Outsider Threats. The agenda includes discussion on whether non-local landlords should be banned from renting altogether unless they deposit security bonds directly into Sunbreeze Federal accounts managed by, you guessed it, Linda herself. Joey goes AWOL after accidentally double-booking himself for both snake removal duty and tax prep appointments during spring break rush. The only person left willing to help is Brian, yes, For Loco Brian, who offers unsolicited legal advice sourced entirely from Reddit comment sections, including something called Sovereign Citizen Defense, which seems riskier than letting iguanas nest inside your HVAC unit during July. By now, sleep deprivation has reached new heights. I start hallucinating that Linda's Facebook memes contain coded threats against anyone buying groceries outside Publix, shop local or else. Meanwhile, HOA mows half my lawn in retaliation for overdue dues, but leaves ominous strip down middle spelling out pay up. With nothing left to lose in 48 hours until potential foreclosure, I print every single receipt ever generated by man or beast since time began and march down to Sunbreeze federal waving folders like surrender flags at high noon showdown outside Okeechobee Saloon. Linda greets me with ice-cold mimosa in hand surrounded by her posse, Karen holding notepad ready for gossip, Ed leaning on Kane giving silent judgmental nod, Brian filming entire scene for TikTok, random guy dressed as giant flamingo waving pro-local banking sign behind them all possibly paid extra. I explain everything, how virtual banks failed me, how New York tenants paid late because their dog ate their debit card, how Joey confused tax IDs after drinking too much whiskey sours, all while sweating so badly even gators would be impressed. Linda listens calmly then leans forward conspiratorially. You know, there's room here for people who play ball, but we don't tolerate outsiders skirting rules or hiding behind LLC loopholes. She slides across stack of blank forms labeled SUNBREZ compliance agreement alongside list of tenants' names highlighted in neon yellow. Sign these, she says softly, and maybe your problems disappear. Otherwise, the board votes next week and things could get very uncomfortable very fast. Before I can answer, Karen gasps loudly pointing at her phone. Is this your house trending on Twitter? She squeals, holding up video clips showing police cruisers parked outside Flamingo Lane property while local news anchor breathlessly reports. Something about suspected fraud investigation linked to mysterious wire transfers exposed by anonymous tipster only identified as L, and that's when it hits me. The real Shark Tank isn't on TV, it's right here in Florida, and I'm already bleeding. And as everyone stares waiting for my answer, a siren wails down Flamingo Lane and Linda smirks, and suddenly everything goes dark.